Hello YouTube, my name is Antoine, or as some of you may know me as Django from TikTok, and I'm back with Antoine's Analysis on Premier League Game Week 10. It was quite an interesting game week, lots of ups and downs for teams and some shocking results really. First up, we have Bournemouth versus Leicester, which ended 2-1 to Bournemouth. Bournemouth, as I said last week, are having a very good season, and Leicester are having a very, very below standard season. They have some good players, but they're not getting any good results. They've only had one win so far, so yeah, if their season doesn't pick up soon, Brendan Rodgers might actually get the sack, and it'll be pretty well deserved in my opinion. The next match is Chelsea versus Wolves, which ended 3-0 to Chelsea at home. Honestly, Wolves have a base team, very, very mid-table club, and yeah, I would have expected Chelsea to win this. 3-0 win. Pretty sure Sterling and Raheem and Reece James didn't start, but yeah, good win for Chelsea. Next, we have Southampton and Man City. Only took Haaland, about 60 minutes to end his goal drought. Before that, he hadn't scored, and he only scored one. Regardless, 4-0 win for City. They're not going to complain. They're still going strong in the title race, still keeping up with Arsenal, a point behind. And yeah, the next match is Liverpool, so we'll definitely see how that pans out for them. Up next, we have Newcastle and Brentford. 5-1 Newcastle. Brentford had a good start to the season, and in my opinion, I think their season is still going quite decently. But obviously, Newcastle have got a stronger team in my opinion, a lot better players, and yeah, 5-1 at home speaks for itself really. Spurs versus Brighton ended 1-0 to Spurs. A little bit expected. I would have expected it to be a higher scoreline in my opinion. Harry Kane with the goal, and yeah, they were away, so they didn't exactly have home field advantage, so 1-0 to Spurs. The first of the Sunday games is Crystal Palace versus Leeds, which ended 2-1 to Crystal Palace at home. Very good result for Palace in their season right now. Leeds, their season again started very well and is starting to drop a little bit, which is where you would expect them to start dropping into mid-table a bit, just like last season. Although, who knows, they could pick up again, they might not. They might drop all the way to the bottom, no one can know. West Ham versus Fulham, a London derby, ended 3-1 to West Ham. Honestly, Fulham, Mitrovic, they were doing very well. Started off with a draw to Liverpool, played well against Arsenal, but in their London derby against West Ham were clearly just a better team, won 3-1. Liverpool versus Arsenal at the Emirates ended 3-2, very entertaining game. Liverpool's 2 goals, very good. Same with Arsenal. TRENT disaster class really, Martinelli masterclass, and yeah, Liverpool, their season is just not going great at all, and honestly, I don't really see it getting a lot better. I think they'll finish inside the top 10, which I'm not 100% sure where they are at this moment in time, but yeah, definitely could have been better from Liverpool. Usually they beat Arsenal, but Arsenal's season has just been amazing so far. Manchester United versus Everton, 2-1 United, away from home. Love it, Ten Hag ball. I think that the team is really starting to come together, and we played some very brilliant football yesterday. A Rashford goal disallowed, which again, I don't think it was a handball. I don't think most people think it was a handball, but what can you do? We still got the win, end of the day. Another Martial injury, which is a little bit annoying, but at least Ronaldo is looking like he's going to be back to scoring, so that is good for us regardless. And the final match of game week 10, Nottingham Forest versus Aston Villa. Another, I wouldn't say bad result, but below par result for Gerrard's Aston Villa side. Again, they have a great team with great players. I wouldn't say a great manager, and they're just not getting enough wins really. Nottingham Forest, for just coming up from the Championship, this will probably be a good result for them, but especially with the fact that they already have wins this season. Yeah, it's definitely looking very good for Nottingham Forest. All the teams that came up from the Championship, that being Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest and Fulham, are all doing quite well in their season. Like, they've had a good start. If they can't keep it up, they just come up from the Championship anyway, so yeah. But if they do keep it up, it will look even better. And before we go, we'll take one last look at the table just to see where everyone is finished this week. In first, we still have Arsenal, with City a point behind them. Not really much has changed there. Tottenham still in third, 3 points behind City after their loss to Arsenal. You expect it, but honestly, Spurs' season is going quite well. If they qualify for UCL again, I think they'll be happy, and I feel like that should be their main target this season. I don't think they're going to win the league. So yeah, I think they should definitely focus on UCL more. We have Chelsea in 4th, a point ahead of United in 5th. Honestly, again, I will say Chelsea are probably not going to finish above us. When we play them, I reckon we'll beat them. And yeah, honestly, I see us finishing in the top 4 quite comfortably. In 6th and 7th, we have Newcastle and Brighton, both on 14 points. Newcastle have just gone above Brighton, who before, I believe, were quite high. But regardless, Brighton are still quite strong side, and I do think that their next few fixtures are quite decent for them. So if they can win those, they'll again be back in the top 4 race. 8th place, we have Bournemouth with 12 points. Behind them, 11 points, we have Fulham. And just behind Fulham with 10 points, we have Liverpool, just barely inside the top 10, with 10 points actually, ironically. In 11th, we have Brentford on 10 points as well. Same with Everton in 12th. All those 3 teams that are on 10 points, honestly, there's some good ones there, but then you just think Liverpool, and they just shouldn't be there for the players that they have and the manager they have and the history they have. It's really poor, really. West Ham gone up to 13th after their 3-1 win. They are on 10 points also, so tied with the 3 teams in front of them. Teams from 14th to 16th, that being 14, 15 and 16, all have 9 points. That is Aston Villa, Leeds United and Crystal Palace FC. Those teams, honestly, like I said in my Premier League prediction, mid-table clubs, I expect them to finish in mid-table, but they haven't exactly had bad seasons. If they had bad seasons, they'd be at the bottom in my opinion, but they've got wins, they've got draws, and obviously they have losses because they're not that high in the table. In 17th, with 7 points, we have Southampton. Honestly, Southampton don't have a lot of great players. Ward-Prowse, Tenet, and that's their best one. You could only name a few from their 11, but honestly, I don't think their fans are going to be too disappointed. I think they just enjoy supporting their club and obviously watching them win games when they do. And the bottom 3 is in this order: Wolves, Nottingham Forest and Leicester City. Honestly, if Leicester and Wolves go down, it will be a bit of a shock, but not really. Wolves, good side, but they clearly aren't being managed properly and their players aren't going out there and getting results for them. Leicester, definitely a shock. They won the league, obviously a few years ago, but they won the league, so yeah, it's definitely a shock. Won a few FA Cups and Community Shields, so you would expect them to be doing at least mid-table. I'm saying I would expect them to be 15th and above. So I'm definitely going to have to be doing a prediction on how I think the season will end for everyone. I don't think Leicester will stay rock bottom for long. I reckon Brendan Rodgers gets sacked, someone comes in, makes them start playing better. But yeah, especially with their best players wanting to leave because their club's obviously 20th, it's not looking great for Leicester in my opinion. But that is the end. We've reviewed the table, the matches, and I'm going to be doing my predictions over the week. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Antoines Analysis, and I'll see you next Tuesday for the review on game week 11. Bye-bye.